All right, welcome back, everyone, to the Colonie Pitt, where we hang out with our Colonie alumni and friends and catch up. To give you a quick recap, last time we talked to Chuck, we were in his collegiate years where he went from dean, and actually he mentioned that he was a first transfer to Boston College, if I remember correctly. And then he told us about his time with Tom Coughlin and his time at BC, and that actually had a record-setting career that last year. He was all over the Big East in literally every category he had. And I was just going to touch on, I'm looking up right now some of the players, Chuck, that were in your team, and you have some individual guys there that are just, who everyone who follows the NFL knows these guys. You had Pete Mitchell, the tight end, who went on to have a good career there. He was a
Yep.
freshman when you were there. You had Michael Reed, defensive back there. Mike
Yep.
Mamula was
Yep.
there. And then on the offensive line this summer, Tom Nalen, who was Super Bowl champ with the Broncos on there. The one thing, too, what was it like, playing with these guys, that year when you were at BC?
Well, it was good. When you don't come from another program, like there's all this portal stuff going on, so you don't know what to expect and so forth. So and I came in with a new coach, so and I think that was a big thing. Looking back at it now, some of those players, they were under Coach Bicknell for about a year or two before I got there. So, some of the things that I had to learn and was taught and had to learn with those other players too, because some of them are freshmen, a lot of them are sophomores. We learned together. So, but it was one of those things where Coach Coughlin basically came in and turned the program around and, basically was trying to teach us how to practice correctly, how to focus. Um, his one of his big slogans was "Pay attention to details." Things of that nature. You know what I mean? So I was able to basically get in there and get going and try to contribute the best I can. I could tell you a little story about something later, but I'll save it for later.
Yeah. So you just said something there, and I was just wondering, just to hear your thoughts would be fascinating. So I got three questions for you. You just mentioned, what is your current thoughts on NIL that's going on right now in college football?
Ooh, well, I think I think it can be a good thing um, for the NCAA. Unfortunately, I was brought up that money is the root of all evil. So, um, and that's where it's going. I think, this says image and likeness on it, so we knew it was kind of go there. But I really believe I don't know if they knew it was going to be the way this is, as far as you're recruiting half talent, half money. You understand what I'm saying? So I think what is happening is that some of these players are obviously going to these programs because they have money. These bigger programs have money for them to give you, and some of them that don't have that opportunity to make the money. I don't know if they can stay focused on what really they're there for. Playing sports, going to school, getting their education. I, I was I'm glad to see it, because you know when I went to school, there's a couple of athletes that could used it. I remember because some of my friends, they had one suit, and the big lineman had one pair of pants and half splitting at the seam. You know what I mean? So they could have used some extra money, and I think the image and likeness was supposed to be just just a little bit of money that can help these kids get through. It's not that. Like it's career money, it's life changing money. It's a whole nother animal. When you're talking that type of cash, and then you have these kids to perform, it's it's hard to do. Now, unfortunately, we're getting good ball. Um, I don't know if it's ever going to change. And unfortunately, I've had conversations about this a lot, and I'll just say I don't know why I'm thinking this. I think something really bad's got to happen for it to change. And the reason why I say that is because, and it's going to. It's going to happen. When you have a lot of people, meaning athletes, in a room, 110 of them, and 10 of them are making all the money, and 90 of them are busting their ass, they're not getting the love, they're pissed off. They're upset. They're mad. They're not going to work as hard, and they're definitely going to be jealous about you driving a car. I'm still walking. You have new suits. I don't. You have jewelry, and I don't. And a lot of these kids come from areas to where that was their way out, athletic wise. So I hope it doesn't happen. I believe it's a good thing in a way, but they definitely have to go back and readdress it. And I think that money, unfortunately, should be controlled by the school just a little bit. Just a little bit. Because when I was going to school, like I was telling you, some of these kids could use extra. I would have loved to see, some of my buddies be able to say, hey, listen, I need 4 suits. Can I take a suit stipend, go downtown Boston, get me 4 tailored suits, bring them on back? Boom. The money was used for suits. It wasn't used for a gold chain. It wasn't used for the new Jordans. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't moved for pizza. It was stuff that you actually need. I wish they'd take some of that money and give it directly to the parents so they can travel with the team sometimes. When I say travel, meaning go to a couple away games. Because a lot of parents can't afford it. Hey, listen, they get 4 tickets every year to go to any game they want to. Give them a hotel ticket, give them flights, give them food, you know what I'm saying? Things of that nature to where I think the money needs to be used for the family, friends, and for the university. And I think they've gotten away from that. So, it's unfortunate, but I think that's where it's at right now. It's just out of hand.
All right, Chuck. So here's question number 2 for you. What are your thoughts on the transfer portal?
I think it's a good thing that kids can move. All right. For years, you were stuck. You couldn't go anywhere. Coaches were moving, and you didn't. What I think is happening is these kids are getting false hopes when they transfer. That's the downfall of it. And if you're good, you're gonna move and you're gonna play. If you're middle of the road, it's kind of like, can you really go anywhere? And if you're just young, you have no, kind of like we in the football game, you have no tape. You know what I'm saying? Like you have no tape to shop yourself with like that. So I think it's a good thing, but there's got to be a way to control that too. And what has happened, and I have a nephew that played, and he went in the portal and he wanted to go and see and so forth like that. A lot of these kids are going in there blind. Okay, and I'm not just speaking. I'm speaking from experience, from what I know with some of the athletes, and then they're going in there blind. They're just putting it in there, and they're going, "Hey, I'm good. I can just go." And the next time they find themselves is they're not getting picked up nowhere. Like there's thousands and thousands of kids that are in that portal that are not getting picked up. So what's happening is if you happen to have quote unquote a back channel before you transfer, that's how these guys are kind of moving. Now, when I say that, I'm not saying the top 10%. They speak for themselves. It is what it is. It's the tier 2 kids where they're going, listen, maybe I want a new opportunity somewhere. I thought it wasn't right. The coaches were not as what I thought, whatever reason they have, and they're jumping in there with no back channel and they're not getting the right information for them to make the move. So it's okay. I think there's some flaws in there, and part of that flaw is no back channel, which you're not supposed to, but you do. It's as if I was getting recruited by BC, Penn State, Michigan, and I went to BC, my coach, my high school coach, I could always go back to him and go, listen, can you go back and reach out to that coach from Penn State? And you know what I'm saying? And he'd be like, yeah, more than likely, yeah. And then ask him, can he come now? Yeah, sure. Put his name in it. I got him, yank him right out. You know what I mean? So I think a lot of the kids don't have that option to them. And the information that they're getting is totally wrong. Now, I don't know how you correct that. You know what I'm saying? Because these kids are going and they're not getting picked up. I don't care what there's people telling you, they're not. There's thousands in there. And unfortunately, scholarships are gone. You know what I'm saying? It's like they're jumping in and I allow my nephew. They gave him a date and a time. By June 2nd, if you're still in the portal, thank you. Your scholarship's gone. I'm giving it to somebody else. See you later. Good luck. You know, and I think a lot of them are doing that, and they're not getting just to. Now we hear all the stories out there, but there's hundreds of thousands of players, so it doesn't
Wow.
seem like it. You know what I mean? It doesn't seem like it's a big deal, but you got to get in there and you got to play. Now, with that being said, only 7% play.
Wow.
7%. 7% of NCAA, and this football wise, actually play. So
Jeez.
there's a lot of kids that are on these benches that are on depth charts that are not playing now. Did I think it was bullshit? Yep, I did. I'm like, there's no way. But then I look at my own. I went into BC. I played for 3 years. There was 2 years where kids on the bench were not getting in.
Wow.
You,
That,
that just I was a starter. I played 90% of the time. You didn't get in. So, if you're a freshman and you got a nice sophomore behind you, and then there's other guys behind you, they're not getting in the game. They're not playing. They're not. So, these guys got to be disciplined. They got to get somewhere, you know, ride through it, learn what the coaches got to say, learn the system, and go and play.
yeah.
But that number is for real. That's a real number. So they're
Wow.
not they're not out there. It's just kind of like false hope when they jump into that portal.
No kidding. And actually, and here's my third question for you. What's your thoughts on the college playoffs coming up this year in 2024?
Is it new? Did they expand the teams?
So I read where it's 12, and then I read something a couple of days ago where they're trying to get it to 14. 14 isn't going to happen in 24. So 12 for a fact is in this
Yeah.
upcoming college season, they'll have 12 playoffs. What do you think about that?
More the merrier. I mean,
More money, right?
Yeah. Well,
More money for everybody.
Well, listen. Let's just you when you it wasn't me, and I wish I had this attitude, but since I'm on the outside now, I can say this. Um, you know, kids are going to be on TV and win a chip. Like that's what we want to do. They want to get that money. They want to showcase themselves, and they want to get a chip. But there's not a lot of programs that are able to go out there and recruit these type of kids and go, listen, we have a shot at getting there. You understand what I'm saying? We can say the Alabamas, the Georgias now. Um, who else is out there that's pretty good? I mean, shit, that's pretty about everybody else is. TCU hops in there every once in a while. Tennessee comes in back and forth. Miami now, Houston. Like there's every once in a while you get just a nice recruiting class and you go out there and compete. But to try to even out the playing field, yeah, you want more opportunities to just say, hey, listen, it ain't just for 4 teams now.
Yeah.
Let's go for 10. Is it going to work? I'm not gonna. I'm not sure. But the other side of that is, like you said, Rex, money, TV revenue. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Like these universities, when you hit the playoffs and you're in that College Bowl World,
Yeah.
what do they call it? College Bowl World Series or
Yep.
whatever called it,
Yeah.
series, TV's giving you an extra 15, 20 mil, like right
Right.
off the rip. That's what the university gets. So I think it's a good idea. Hopefully kids take advantage of it and disperse. The end game a lot of the time is the NFL.
Yeah.
That's just what it is. But you hope you want to compete and play. All of us have been athletes. We've all played. Like, is it good being on the winning team? Yeah. But there's times when you want to go play. It's like, yo, fuck this shit. Excuse me, French. Like, I want to go out there. I want to ball against
Right.
the best. I want to compete. I want to play.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so
No
on
doubt.
that note, you kind of perfect segue. So now you graduate from BC, you're home, and the draft is on. What's going on? With you. I mean, you had, like I said, an incredible career at BC. Your time's up. You're in the draft, or you're eligible to be selected. But what was going on with you during that time?
Oh, I was actually traveling the country a little bit. Went to a couple bowl games, Hula Bowl, went out East West Shrine games out in California. Made some appearances, talking appearances, things like that, and then training. I wind up working with a young man out of Boston, Mike Boyle, in training, trying to get ready for the combine. And at that time, I got selected to go to the combine. So, that was kind of like a big deal. Very clueless. Okay. And when I say that, um, I wish I wasn't. I wish somebody was in my corner that had been there before. I wish they knew what it was like. I wish what they felt like it was to go out there and train and be there. A lot of my talent, God gave it to me. Did I work at it? A little bit, to be honest with you. But I wish I had somebody that went through it and could say, no, this is, you got to get here or you got to do that, and I didn't have it. So, I was home for a little while. I knew that, well, at least I thought that I wanted to play in the NFL. I really didn't know what it entailed. I just thought it was like, man, it's just another damn league, and let's go in there and blah blah. I didn't know nothing. I mean, my favorite team was the Steelers. I like the Franco Harrises of the world. Those other running backs I made, like the Barry Sanders and the Peytons. You know what I mean? Like the bigger names, but I really didn't follow it too much. It was just like if it was on, okay. So going at it and understanding, it's a business. And I don't know if I told you this before. I just remember one time going through the process. They came home. Well, they didn't come home. Agents were. My sister had set up like a 3-week weekend where agents were coming in town. And they'd come in town and they walk around the neighborhood. They're asking questions. They went to the school and all this shit, like all this stuff going on about what Chuck and what kind of kid he is. I don't know what information they got, but whatever whatever they were doing. And I remember my sister calling me up and she's like, "You sure you want to do this?" And I'm like, "What do you mean?" And I'm like, "Yeah, you're gonna be on TV, make some money." She's like, "No, do you sure you want to do this?" And I'm like, "Yeah." She's like, "Well, because this is a business now. This isn't football per se anymore. They're like, Chuck, they're going to be having you do this. They're making you do that. They're going to hold you to a standard of this. You got a contract now. Like, they can void your shit, send you home." You know what I mean? Like, so, and, I didn't totally understand it at the time. But of course I said yeah, and I did what I did with it. I think I could have done better. And the reason why I say that is because my 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 energy and thought at that time was play and have fun and just do whatever. I wasn't able to translate it to like, this is business and this is why I'm doing my setups. This is why I'm running up and down Central Avenue right now. This is why you get what I'm saying?
So
It took me a minute for that.
So tell us a little bit. You didn't get drafted and you became a free agent to go wherever you want. Tell us a little bit about your thought process of when you pretty much could go wherever you wanted to. Why did you select the Redskins? Tell us about your experience at the Redskins, and also tell us about your experience at Pittsburgh.
Yeah, well, I was a free agent. I wound up going to the Washington Redskins because I thought I could beat out one person. That's really what it was. So after the draft came down, it's kind of funny. I was on the phone with the Steelers for like 2.5 rounds, almost 3 rounds on day 2. They didn't draft me, so they hung up the phone and said good luck. And I wound up hanging up, and you have to clear waivers. And waivers is 24 hours after the NFL draft, and then you're allowed to do whatever. I probably had a good 20 teams, come at me. A lot of almost the pick of the litter. I was really looking at Chicago Bears, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and the Redskins. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Chicago had a lot of money on the table. And I'm like, fuck that, give me the money. But they couldn't they couldn't guarantee me, who was gonna be there, what was gonna go on, who I was gonna compete with. The Redskins basically said, listen, I'm the only one you're bringing in. I bring you in, this is it. And good luck. I said I could beat somebody out. That was my attitude at the time. But I went there. Guys were good. They were good. They were ballers. They could play. They are professionals. I didn't understand how you do a whole 2.5 hour practice and then you go in the weight room for another 2.5 hours. I didn't understand how you did 2.5 hours after that. They go get some water and then they used to drive down to James Madison and run hills backwards. The hills. I'm like, I'm sitting on the truck. I'm not doing nothing. I'm done. Do the best thing. I sat there in the car. Like this is crazy. But that's why they were pros. That's why they were where they are. That's why they did what they did. That particular team was a lot of veterans. They had just won the Super Bowl 2 years prior. So those guys, they knew what it took and so forth. They didn't do too well after that,
Yeah.
but but yeah. So that's what that was. And then I wind up playing a scrimmage game, and I did well, and it was against the Steelers actually, and I got released by the Redskins. I felt like I should have gotten released. It wasn't like I just wasn't good enough at that time. I thought I was good enough, but I didn't put in the work I need to. So the Steelers picked me up, and they basically was like, "Listen, come on in and compete." So I said, "Oh, well, okay." So I packed my stuff up, went down to Pittsburgh, stayed there for the following that particular year, which was probably like 8 games, 9 games. And that was a younger team. That was, with the Rod Woodsons of the world, LeVon Kirklands, Damani Dawsons, like they Chad Brown, like they Greg Lloyd. I mean, like the team was loaded. They were young, um, and they went about things a little bit differently. And I think that attitude that they had was just like, listen, when you come to work, just put it in and go to fuck home. Like, don't come here and play around. We're not talking now. Just get what we got to do and get it done. So they definitely showed me to where, hey, either you're gonna do it or you're not. They're not holding your hand. They're not doing none of that stuff at all. So I wound up being there for 2 years, and it was good. It was a great experience. I wouldn't change it for the world.
Was
Just
Chad was
what?
Chad still at sorry, was Chad still at Pittsburgh, University of Pittsburgh when you were down there
Oh
with the Steelers, or was he gone yet?
no, no, he might have been a junior. He had another year there.
Yeah.
Chad
All
had
right.
another
That's
year or
cool.
two. He was playing actually with Curtis Martin,
Yep.
the
Hall of
what do you
Famer.
call it, Hall of Famer. Yeah, he was there, and Chad was doing his thing. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Chad was down there, competing and playing and stuff like that. And I would see him. I go to those games, and he'd come down and hang out and everything. But he's funny too because he didn't want to be a fullback. Like he was like he was
Yeah.
Curtis Martin's fullback. He's like, screw this shit. I want to run the ball.
Yeah.
But so
He was a good fullback though. He
no,
played his
no.
role, let me tell
Listen,
you.
I'm gonna tell you something. He fullback Curtis Martin to Player of the Year. So I think that in the Big East at the time. Then he turned around and he did it for this other kid. I forgot his name. Billy something. It was a freshman running back. Came in after Curtis left, and he became Rookie of the Year.
Mm.
You know what I mean? So yeah. Chad did very, very well. It was
Yeah.
unfortunate that um I ain't gonna say he didn't get his just due because he had a good career in the pros himself. Like he played five
Yeah.
years, so it's not like he didn't do well. It just
Yeah.
he had to take a different path of getting there.
Right.
But he got there, yeah. But
S-
it
s-
was good.
So you do your thing with the Steelers for was that one season or
It
two
was 2 seasons, two
two
seasons.
seasons?
Yeah,
And then were they the team that sent you to NFL Europe?
yeah. Well, they didn't send me. I got yes, pretty much. They were yes. I got released, and they were like, "Listen, you need more tape." And that was kind of like I get it because when you're in the practice squad, you're practicing. It's almost like you're with the team. You wouldn't know any different, but you're practicing a lot of what other teams are doing. You know
Hmm.
what I'm saying? You get, if I had to put it percentage wise, you're probably like 85%, almost 90% of what other teams do, and then you're like 10% of what you do, what the Steelers do. And it's hard to get in. It's just,
Yeah.
you're practicing so get in. So yeah, so they basically were like, listen, hey, you had a year and an option, and my option year was up. I had a year, my year option up my second year, and they're like, they want to see more, at that level. So at that time, NFL Europe came back, and I wind up making, it was Ryan Fire out in Dusseldorf, Germany.
Uh,
So I wound up making that team. We played a scrimmage game. Second play of the scrimmage game, wound up buckling my knee on the sideline. Yada yada yada. That whole thing went down, and then next time I know, I'm on a table down in Birmingham, Alabama, getting knee surgery.
okay.
I should have. I probably should have said no. To be honest with you, I should have been like, nope. I ain't going. Let me just get bigger, faster, stronger, and come back next year, or just go somewhere and try. But listen, it happened for a reason. It is what it is. I play ball, and this is what I signed up for. So
Right.
and that kind of just ended it right then and there.
All right.
Pretty much, yeah,
Cool.
yeah. So
So tell us a little bit. Obviously, the football career was pretty awesome. Tell us a little bit about what you're doing with today's young athletes in your professional career.
I don't know how I got into training, but coaching wise, I wind up having two boys, and my oldest son wound up playing Pop Warner out in Guilderland. I see how it was going, and I see some of the parents needed some help, and it just didn't look too good to me. So I jumped into the pool of coaching. I learned a lot of stuff from some of these younger coaches. When you play at such a high level, you get kind of how you want to get it. You get a false attitude about how you should or shouldn't be at a younger level, and I had to learn that, hey, there's a lot of things that I know that I can't teach a 6-year old. There's stuff
Yeah.
that I can do at my age that I'm trying to tell this 10-year-old to do it, and I know they can't. So the learning curve was great for a couple of years. I had a chance to work with some really good fathers that, they would go out there and they come up with different drills that pertain for that age group and age level. They give, examples on SpongeBob type shit. That was, but literally, it would, the kids would get it. They would understand what they were talking about. So that's where I started my career when it came to coaching, and then I wind up doing that for years until both my boys came out. I coached at CBA for a couple of years over there with Coach Burke, and then uh, people just started asking, like, Chuck, can you work with my kid? And I'm thinking, like, let me see about this. And next time I know it, I'm in there training. I'm in there working with these young men with their football skills. I wind up having a camp years ago under the name of Triple Threat Training. I had a couple times over there in the dome in Latham. Is that the Afram Dome, the first dome that they had
Hmm.
over there in Aframs? So as of right now, it's probably like 9 years in, 10 years in. I work with now it's all athletes. It's not just football kids anymore. I got basketball kids, I got lacrosse kids, I got track kids, I got volleyball kids. I work with them, and I do have a couple of parents that I also work with in the morning. That those are my morning groups. From 5 in the morning to like 8. They want to come in and basically try to maintain some good health. With flexibility and mobility and things of that nature. So that's what I'm doing right now. It's kept me connected here in the area, even some Colonie kids. I'm able to go back and watch them. So when I'm in the stands, it's like, I have something invested, you want to say. And it's been good. So, with that, I've been able to basically stay, what do you want to call it, athletic ready, if you want to say that. You know what I'm saying? Just my mind is there. You think it and stuff like that. And then I try to just talk to the kids and give something back. You know what I
Nice.
mean? I try to encourage them, where I've been, what I've done. And hopefully, one or two of them understand that I'm reachable. I'm touchable. There's some, it's not like I'm not just Chuck the myth, the legend. It's like literally I can talk to this guy and he'll talk back to me, and stuff like that. But I think in the area, and you guys come from here, we have a lot of kids that are pretty good athletes. We have a lot of kids that go, but we got a lot of kids that come home.
Yeah.
A lot. They don't go and continue to play. They go for a year or two and they come back.
Mm.
Colony kids, we got a lot of them. I could go down a slew of them that do that. And I think what's going to happen is these coaches got to work with these kids, bring back kids. And I'm gonna say this on the Pitt Cod Pass, and I say behind this is kind of like they do a very poor job are bringing their athletes back to Colonie to work with these kids. Now, I'm going to say you got to work with them. You don't got to be a coach. I'm just saying a lot of times you need to hear the story.
Right. Yeah.
They need to hear the Chuck Duke story. They need to hear the Dave Gamble story, the Todd Orvis stories, the Chad Dukes. Now, these are just guys that I know in my area. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure your brother too, the Martinez story. I bet you they didn't even know he went to Temple and fucking played.
Right.
Okay, now the fact that he walked in the door, trained and worked out, forget even playing. I'm not even talking about getting a snap. I'm just saying he walked in, he was around people that trained at a high level. He was around people that ate a different way. There's a lot of people that slept and got up and still went to class and got some decent grades. They don't hear that.
Yeah.
No,
You know what I'm
you're
saying?
spot on, and that's the one thing too.
Yeah.
When I was there my senior year in '93, it would have been nice to actually hear from someone saying, "Here's reality. Like you have this last or these 8 games to decide whether you're going to get a potential to get a football scholarship, or if not, start making your future goals." Like I wish we had that. We didn't have that. We just were playing to have fun, and I just remember Coach K always says, embrace these moments because they're going to be over here soon. And that was like the mantra. And like you said, we just wanted to keep playing as a group together. But sooner or later, your time comes and ends. But to have someone like you come and say, look, here's the way the world is and here's the way the wind blows, that would have been awesome. And, that would have been so helpful, I think, to those athletes to realize, coming from someone of your stature, that what you did in Suburban Council than what you did at Boston College. And again, to step in an NFL locker room, there's not many Chuck Dukes walking around Colonie that you can actually tap on the shoulder and say, hey, what do I need to do to be successful? And, like I said, hopefully that happens, man. Hopefully you can get all those guys to come back to Colonie. I think that's something that hasn't been done that needs to be done to help those athletes, no matter what sport they play, to hear from people.
And you know what we'll do is maybe sometime we'll have a separate show, and we'll try to bring a few of you on together, and we'll talk about that kind of stuff, because we could go on for days like that, but we'll try to get a few of you guys on and just talk about what young athletes should be thinking about. That'd be kind of cool, I think.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I totally agree.
Yeah.
They need it. They need it.
So Chuck, if someone does want to get in touch with you, because I want to switch gears and talk about a different topic, but what is the name of your training business, or how do they find you or get in touch with you?
Well, they can get in touch with me by this is
there we go. Chuck
this
Dukes.
is me right now, my business card, Chuck Dukes FA.
Okay. What's that email address? Because it might be a little small when we post this. What's your email?
Email address is cdukesbc as in Boston College 33 at yahoo.com.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, yeah. So definitely check Chucky out if you're living in the Capital District area and you have a youngster, or you are a youngster and you need some help, both on the physical side, the agility side, as well as just the knowing what it takes to get it done at the next level. But just switching gears a little bit here, we've talked a lot about your coaches. We've talked a little bit about Chad, and we're going to have Chad on the show at some point. I'm definitely going to reach out to him. But let's just real quick talk about the role of a different group of people that I know played a big part in your life. Let's talk about your sisters, because I know that they're down from day one, and we don't have time to talk about each of them individually, but as a collective group, I don't think they probably get the due credit that they deserve. So tell me a little bit about your sister's role in your life.
Well, yeah, I happen to have 5 sisters and 1 brother, which is Chad. They were very supportive in the sense that, they were kind of like the mouthpieces between the sports school to my mother and my father. Okay, so my mom and my dad were like, listen, I don't know about all this football stuff, but you better go to school. You better try to do the best you can and go to church on Sundays. That's what it was. That's all that was. My dad was like, yo, listen, I'm going to work, and when I come home, I'm tired. So leave me the fuck alone. I'm going to sleep. So that's how it's going down. But it's really kind of funny because my dad used to come to the games, and he, after the games, he'd be like, I think I heard your name a couple times. Like somebody somebody was yelling your name. They were yelling your name. And I'm like, this is the dad. That's the announcer. The announcer's saying, that's Chuck carrying the ball and Chad carrying the ball. But it was really funny. My dad's educational level was probably like at his second grade.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He was about working, family, this, that, and the third. So he raised. I got to give him credit. He raised us well. He raised my sisters well. They're athletic people. They like the sports. Unfortunately, that was our connection. Okay, we had pretty good athletes in the family. My sister was a good basketball and softball player. Charlene was a pretty good soccer player, and the other twos, they may have played maybe tennis or something of that nature. I don't know if anything, but it was about the sports. And that was like the little glue that said, hey, listen, when we go support. And the good thing is, and Pat knows this, is they didn't just support me.
Oh no.
Like, if you were on the team and they knew your name, John, they yelling John. They coming down the field. They coming down.
Yeah.
Am I lying, Pat? Like,
No, it's for real. I actually experienced it not too long ago. I went and saw Chuck's nephew played for Fordham, and they came up to University of Buffalo last fall and played at Buffalo. And I met up with Chuck's sister Pam and her husband Mike, and they were nice enough to hook me up some tickets. I sat with them for the game. First of all, his nephew was awesome. He was by far, hands down, MJ Wright, by far the best player in the field. But Pam Dukes is the most enthusiastic football fan I have ever been around. I remembered her at Chuck's games, but when it's her son, she takes it up another level, and they were both great people, and I enjoyed sitting with them. But he's right, Pam. They say players don't take plays off. Pam does not take plays off as a fan, so that's all you need to know about Pam. But I don't want to pretend like I know all your sisters really well, but I know they were a big part of your life. And for those that don't know Chuck's parents, they're two of the nicest people ever. Obviously, his dad passed away a while ago, but Papa Dukes had swag before the term swag became popular. Let me say that he had more swag than anybody. And Mrs. Dukes, I've seen some pictures. She looks great, and I think it's awesome. So yeah.
Well, there's a lot, and I maybe I give it this probably. Well, this is an opportunity I can do that. I say thank you to a lot of Colonie folks, you want to call alum, friends, acquaintances, and stuff, because there's a lot in a lot of hands in the pot, believe it or not. And you're saying thank you, like I met Rex when he was fifth grade, maybe. I met his father through Chad. Chad wanted to meet him first, and then when I came over, I met him, and they opened arms. And ever since then, like literally, like they've been there. They've come to my games. I watched Pat walk into college as a freshman. We'll tell that story at another time. But just to say that there's been people in my life, you want to say even career, that they've helped. They may not have known it. Jay, I remember Jay Zimendanis. He used to own the corner store up the street from my house. Every morning, he'd say, come up here and get breakfast before every home game. Every game, he'd make her go up there, and I get breakfast, and we talk, and he'd send me with some bars for the kids. So there's a lot. There's a lot out there. I'm not even gonna start naming names, but I'm just gonna say thank you, to the Colonie family. I guess you want to say the Colonie family that was there, and I'm still friends with a lot of those guys to this day.
To
be honest with you,
that's cool.
I appreciate it. Yeah.
All right, so let's wrap up here with a few more. We're gonna wrap up the way we started with some Colonie this or that questions. I'll go first, and then John and I will go back and forth a little bit about this. But we're gonna take it back to '89. I know you were a sneakerhead back in the day, and you probably still are. Back in '89, if you needed a new pair of sneakers, are you going to buy them? Which of the following places are you going to buy them from? We got Foot Locker, Herman's, Lefties, or the East Bay catalog.
Oh, wow.
The youngsters today don't know about the East Bay catalog because there was no internet back then.
Even Lefties, like you say, East Bay, yeah.
Lefties, yeah.
Lefties. Okay, sports performance shoe going East Bay.
Okay.
That's where I'm going. Yeah. A regular shoe was probably Herman's. I got
All
a
right.
deal. Somebody used to work at Herman's. We got a deal at Herman's.
Yeah, I think I think I'm not. I think I know who you're talking about, and I'm not going to say names. I'm not going to drop names, but I think everybody in Colony at some point got a deal at Herman's
Herman's.
and or Foot
Foot
Locker
Locker.
in
Yes, Foot
Colony
Locker too.
Center.
No question.
I'm not gonna
No
say
question.
it, but I got some employee discounts
Yes, yes.
and I was not an employee, and
Boy,
I'll just leave it at that
yeah.
because I think the statute of limitations is over, but
Over.
I'm not gonna chance it. Go ahead,
Yeah.
John.
No, I was going to say no comment for that one on Herman's, but I think I know who you're talking about. So here we go, Chuck. Where were we going to find you most likely at? The Altamont Fair or at the Tulip Festival?
Neither.
Neither.
I'm not.
No.
This is the funny part. Like, if I couldn't get a ride with a friend, my mother and father were not driving me nowhere. So
Right.
even though the Tulip Fest was on the bus line, I wasn't going down there. I wasn't going out to Altamont Fair either because I didn't have enough money to get in. I think it was like
Right.
$700 to get into the damn Altamont Fair.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I mean, I'd probably be more likely being at the Black Fest. That's where I go there.
All right.
Yeah.
Blackfest it is then.
Yeah.
Favorite radio station back in the day: 90.9, 88.3, or 92.3.
I don't know 90. You didn't even listen to fucking 92.
I didn't, but the rest of the world doesn't need to know that. Just give me your answer. You know.
I'm 88.3.
All right.
88.3. That's what I do. Rex and the Beatbox channel. That's what we got going. That's what we were doing.
That's right. 88.3.
Yeah, that's Sienna, right? Wasn't that Sienna?
Sienna was 88.
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
90.9 was SUNY Albany, and
yeah.
92 was more the commercial mainstream.
Yeah.
And actually, I forgot. I'm trying to think. RPI, they were a little shady on their playing, but I think they were 91.5 every now and then. They were on like randomly, like they could be off for like 3 weeks and then they were on, and you can never count on them. But
yeah.
Anyway, John, why don't you do one more? I'll do one more, and then we'll kind of wrap up here.
All right, so I'm just want to throw this one out there. Do you remember the first time you went to the Knickerbocker Arena when it opened up? Like, what was the first event you went to at the Knickerbocker Arena?
It probably was. It was MC Hammer concert.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
You didn't go to that.
I swear I was at MC Hammer.
Too legit to quit or turn this mother out?
Listen, too legit to quit.
Wow.
That's
you went to the MC Hammer concert?
The Hammer concert. Now you want to hear something funny? So I go to the concert. It is what it is. Da 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 da. I go out to California. Yes. I go out to California, and agents are talking to me. Da 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 da. Who comes up? MC Hammer.
Really?
MC Hammer comes up. He introduced himself. He gave me, Spike Lee's one. He gave me like a card or whatever, and we started talking this, that, blah, 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 blah. And he tried, whatever he did a smooth and tail, da, da. And I'm like, listen, I remember watching you in Albany. He's like, Albany. He goes, yeah, guys. He goes, there were some crazy people out there. And he remembers, it was a small town. It was a really small town. He goes, I couldn't believe how many black folks was out there. I'm like, yeah, there's a couple out there. But yeah, MC Hammer. That's it. Yes.
Okay. All right, cool.
Yep.
Let me see. I'm going to take my pick here. All right. Favorite old school Colony restaurant, and I think one of these, maybe one or two of these places, I believe is closed. Butcher Block, Ralph's, or DeMarco's? Favorite one out of the three.
Butcher Block, Ralph's,
or DeMarco's.
Okay.
They're all good, or they all were good.
Yeah, I mean, and I didn't really go to them, so you're like
you've been to Ralph's.
I've been. No, I'm saying but listen, Rex, it wasn't like you listen. Every time I came to your house, you ordered Ralph's.
Yeah.
All right, we did not order Ralph's.
I'm not saying you did. I'm just saying
Like
you've
I
been to all these places. Just what was your favorite one?
John, I stopped by on a Tuesday at 7, opening at Ralph's. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, no doubt. He was
Yeah.
shameless about it. There was
Dang, I come in,
no
I sit
doubt.
down, there's no food, and his mom go, "Fuck it, let's call Ralph's.
Yeah, let's
Get
go.
some pizza."
He knew if he stayed long enough, the food was coming.
Yeah,
And, you know, my parents would be
Yeah.
like, "Oh, it's time to eat." He
It's
ain't
time to eat,
leaving,
yeah.
so he's staying for dinner.
See, two pizzas, the pastas, the
The
chicken parm,
wings,
or
yeah,
the
yeah.
wings. So I mean, it's probably Ralph's, but
Okay.
you know, I mean, I honestly, I probably went to Elkins and got fish fry or Ted's or the other fish fry place more.
That's a different question we have. But
Yeah,
all right, we'll end it on that because that was the
yeah.
last question. I was going to throw it in there. Elkins or Platt's place?
Elkins.
Okay. All right.
Elkins. Yeah. Elkins. Fish fry with Elkins, no doubt. No
All
doubt.
right. Cool. All right, John, you want to wrap it up?
Yeah, no, one, Chuck, I just want to say thank you so much for joining us, man. Like I said, as a kid, watching you and your high school career was fun. Then watching you in your collegiate year was even funner. And then actually that one game you're talking about when you went to play for the Skins, I actually remember that game, watching it. And I just remember it's kind of surreal when you know there's a hometown guy playing in the game. And it shows everyone that, you know, if you have the skills, man, anything is possible. So, you know, it's great to have you on, man. It was great hearing your stories. And like I said, we'll have to get you back on. I know there's some other guys that Rex was talking about. I think that'd be a great conversation, just talking about what more we can do. And also, too, if there's anything more else we can do here at the Colonie Pit for you and your business, let us know. But thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, well, listen, I'm gonna say because I'm gonna try to get in there too because you guys need to add a little color to this. That's what you need to do because right now it's pale. It's like pale white, and then there's a little brown white. So we gotta go one more shade. No, but listen. But what do you listen?
I'm insulted by that. You know, I am soul brother number one. There's
listen,
only one guy on here that can beatbox, and let me tell you, he's the palest one.
Yes,
so let's keep it real here. It took us to part 3 to get into an argument,
Don,
but you know.
When we go part 4, I'm going to tell you about his hookup in this room with his turntables. I got you. Okay, but no, what I was saying was possibly because I know you guys like to do live and da da da. If I go to one of these games, you need to hook me up so I can do some interview with some people in the stands or some old school people that usually go to the game, like you know that you see. So. You know, I'm just throwing it out there, you know, because I need that. You know, I need my debut. And, you know, hello, this is Chuck Dukes coming from the Pit.
All right.
Sounds like a plan, man. That actually sounds like it'd be fun.
We'll consider it. Yeah. All right.
Yeah. But, hey, I appreciate it, guys. You guys are doing a good job. Doing a great job, actually.
All right. Thanks, Chuck.
All right, you guys take care. Yeah, bye-bye.
Bye.